The next thing I want to create is that little floating island that holds the arrow, navigational arrow here. If you look from the top view, you can see it right here on the reference picture. And we'll start with placing the cursor, so shift right click roughly in the center of the island, doesn't really matter that much. And we could start by creating a plane or something like that, but there's a add-on in Blender and you don't need to download or install it or anything like that, you just need to activate it. Because if you now press Shift Add, you can see I have several more things going on here than you maybe. And if you go into the Edit Preferences and add-ons, you can search for extra objects. So let's search for the extra objects. And here you can see there's an add-on, Add Mesh Extra Object. I already have it activated, so if you don't have a check here, just check it right here and close the preferences. And right after that you should have the similar options as I do, so let's press Shift A. And here under Mesh you can see there is an option for single vert and add single vert. Let's click that, and what that'll do, it will create a new mesh for you, a new object called vert, and it contains just one vertex, which is completely perfect if you just want to create something from scratch, like we did on the episodes before with the glyphs on the ruins or something like that. And there we did it by merging the vertices of the plane. And these are the extra steps that you can save by using something like this, where you just create an object with a single vert. But be careful before you start manipulating it. Make sure you are in the vertex select mode, and be aware that when you create a single vert, not only the object is already created, but you are already in the edit mode. So there are multiple steps that are done for you. This really speeds up the workflow. So let's press G and move the vertex somewhere here where the corner is. And right now you can just start to extrude the shape of this island. So let's press E and drag it to the corner. And we are aiming for these outer corners right here. So yeah, let's press E again and extrude. As you can remember, you can do this with Control right click too, but I like the precision of dragging, so let's press E and extrude it once again. And just do this shape. And the last thing, you just select the two vertices and press F to join them. One last thing, if you're extruding your own shape and not following the template here, be sure to make even count of the vertices, and I will show you why later. But make sure that they're even. I think we have 10 vertices right here, and right now we can just select them all, fill with F, and let's step out for a while and rotate to look where it is, and it's too much high up, and I think I know why. Because when you snap the cursor in top view on a new location, if there's no surface to snap to, the cursor probably maintained the Z position that it was snapped before, and it was here on the top of this roof. So that's why this is so high. No worries, let's just move this on a Z to 0. So we can open the sidebar with N, go to the item and just search for location Z and enter the 0 there. And right now I want you to tap right back in. We can use period to zoom on the object, and we can now extrude this down. So press E and extrude, maybe something like this. It depends on how high the island you want to be. Okay, and we can scale this down a little bit, so it goes like this. Doesn't have to be precise again. And right now I want to delete this face, this n-gon, because I want to modify the shape further, and it wouldn't be possible, or it would be very messy with the n-gon. So let's delete this, delete the faces, and I want to show you a new function where you can just select the loop here, and since we have a even count of these vertices, Blender will know how to connect them. So if you go to the face options right here, or you can use the shortcut Ctrl F. So there's an option here called grid fill, but sometimes you can get some unexpected results like this. This is actually not so bad, but I had something different in mind, and basically the best way to tell Blender how to fill the faces is to select the opposite loops. So you can select this vertex right here, and by holding Ctrl adjust the selection like this, and then by clicking Shift select this one, and by holding Ctrl select the loop right here. So you have opposite loops with 4 vertices here, with just the 2 vertices in the middle. And right now if you press Ctrl F and click grid fill, this looks much better, and this is much better topologies. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're filling using this function, but it's very handy if you imagine that you would be creating all these vertices and connecting them on your own. This is very handy. Now we want to shape this island a little bit, so let's add some loop cuts. So press Ctrl R and adjust with the mouse wheel and make 2 right here. And right now you can just enable proportional editing, select some vertex, increase the fall off, and move it around a little bit. Just play with the shape like this, subtle changes, nothing too crazy. Just compress it on the sides here a little bit. Make sure you don't distort the top face, and if you do, don't worry, you can flatten that later. And right now we can switch to the random fall off, my favorite, and let's just select one of these at the bottom and grab them up. Okay, and I think this will work nicely as an island. I like this. Maybe you could triangulate these faces down here because they're a little bit distorted, but I wouldn't worry about that right now. But you know what, let's do that. Let's select these and press Ctrl T to triangulate. Right now, the one last thing, let's go to the face select the top face right here. And I already see I distorted it a little bit, so let's turn off proportional editing by pressing O. Let's press S, Z, and then 0, so it's perfectly flat. And right now we can use the bevel tool to create some interesting detail here. So let's just press B, and with just one segment you can create the bevel like this. And only thing that remains right now is go to the vertex select and move some vertices around with the edge slide tool. So press G twice and move them around a little bit. So yeah, I just take these bottom ones and some of them move a little bit closer to top, and I think this will do nicely for a floating island. So let's move on to the next part.